VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/videogameschronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support. Hello and welcome back to VGC's final podcast from SGF 2025. The gang's all here. Andy Robinson, Chris Scullion, and Ralph Skillup.
Hello.
First name, second name.
That is my skill.
Skill is the middle
name. Actually, I changed it legally. This is my first time appearing on this podcast.
Yes,
I'm very excited. And just for the record, I'm a massive fan of VGC. I have been forever, even before I met any of you bastards. Massive fan.
I appreciate it.
So, you guys do, I think, the best work in the business, full stop. It's a shame these people are already paid patrons, aren't they?
This is public.
This is public. Fantastic. If you're not a paid
patron,
patron, if you're not, for the love of God, I'm a paid patron. I'm not even joking. I actually am. You should be signing up. These guys do excellent work. You should support them. They did not tell me to say this. I'm just saying it because I think...
We'll make the transfer later.
They did give me this, though.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting as compensation.
Well, that's it for VGC's SGF coverage. See you later on. Ralph, what have you been playing? What's been wetting your whistle?
Mate, it's been... I tell you what, I'm not interested in your thoughts on this. Quiet show, do you think?
Yeah. That's kind of been the theme of all of these pods we've been doing. Is that I think it's just one of those where there's not so many games around. Like they can't control that, right? If there's not so many games that are ready, then they're going to have a weaker show. Because last year's was a lot better, right? I thought last year's was great. So I'm still confident that this doesn't set off any alarm bells for me that the format's kind of not going to work, or because last year was great.
I agree. I mean, I'm trying to think of what I actually have played so far. The one thing I haven't played yet, but I'm very excited to, is that Sword of the Sea. Did you guys get that yet?
Oh, yeah.
That's the one who's the art director from Journey.
And
every time I stand, because I'm begging the PR person there, please give me a slot.
That just switches my brain off.
You're kidding. You don't like it?
I mean, every time I hear from someone who works on Journey, I feel like every indie game for the last 15 years
but this is actually the guy.
Something
they
Journey.
worked on Pathless.
It's like you're going to me, I'm playing this game, right? It's like a Souls-like.
this one's actually made by Stephen Journey.
Thank you. So it is actually, and it looks extraordinary. I'm so excited to play it. I tell you what I played. I played the Fallen Feathers game. Something Fallen Feathers.
Wu-Chang?
Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wu-Chang? No, you sure it wasn't Wu-Tang?
No, I'm very sure. That was not playable, the Wu-Tang game. Have you guys played with this one yet, the Fallen Feathers? So imagine a Souls-like game, and then...
Sorry, Andy.
Plus Chinese.
Souls-like?
And just imagine Dark Souls, but in China. That's it. And look, it plays well. It's solid mechanically.
I think I played that game.
Exactly. It's in that kind of sort of category where look, I enjoyed it, but it really I played it for an hour. There was zero new ideas in there. Every single mechanic was lifted and dropped from Dark Souls. It just had the Chinese setting, which I enjoyed actually in the sense that it was nice and novel. And if you want another one of those to play, you can play this one, but it was not very new. But in contrast to that, I also played Phantom Blade Zero, and I played that a couple of times now.
Is that here?
No, they have a separate off-sidey thing that they're doing.
I played that here last year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So last year was a lot scrappier. They've cleaned it up a lot more since then. That's much more an action game. It's not a Souls-like, much more distinct. But yeah, it is a little bit rough around the edges. But I think it's actually got some really cool, interesting ideas. It's much more ambitious. I played this fantastic boss battle, which they showed in a recent trailer drop. So yeah, I think that's one to keep an eye on.
Nice.
How about I talked a lot. What have you guys been playing?
For me, I played stuff I can talk about. I've talked about it on every podcast since Tony Hawk 3+4. That is the guiding light of my life. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple of days. Scullion, you were at Xbox today.
Yeah, those are embarked.
When does this go live?
Probably tomorrow.
If it goes live after Tuesday at 8, we can talk about Xbox stuff. If it doesn't, then we can't.
Let's go live after Tuesday at 8. Scullion, Xbox.
The good thing about in the show in general, although it's quite quiet, I've played 10 games since I've been here, and 9 of them have been fantastic.
Cool.
Which is good. I can't say the other one. I'd be grounded if I said. But it's been good. Like the Xbox stuff, I think is embargoed.
What did you play at Xbox?
I can say what I played without saying about that. I played Grounded 2.
No, because he said we're going to send
this is going on Tuesday. This is going on Tuesday.
This
is free.
Played Grounded 2.
Cool.
And played Invincible versus.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Excellent.
Okay,
It was really good.
Cool.
But other than that, I've played the Epic Publishing had 3 games. Infinitesimals, the co-op one where they can't speak.
Out of words.
And the
End of Abyss.
Yep.
Sky.
This is
PR
why
over here.
That's why this guy makes the big bucks. They're all really enjoyed all three.
I'd
of
say
those.
funny story about that actually, because I went to the Epic booking and I had like 3 in a row.
Yeah.
You know, hour and a half, whatever. Come out of the first booking where we played End of Abyss, and I was like, cool, that's great. And then I'm like ready for the next one. They're like, oh, there's been a scheduling challenge, so we're gonna have to just move you around a little bit. I'm like, okay, what challenge is that? I had a booking. I'm here. I came from Australia, and they're like, well, Mr. Kojima, he's here. He took an interest in Out of Words, and he's been in there for the last hour playing it. So we're gonna have to bump you. And I'm like, you know what? There are worse people to be bumped for. I'll take that.
I'll tell you what.
I mean, you and him are big mates now. After going to this
So I
house,
hung out for 4 days over there.
I tell you what, though, no wonder.
No,
It's
I mean, wait until you see
fantastic.
this game. It's honestly incredible.
It's fantastic.
Real, and the people that made it, they all worked in like stop motion animation throughout their careers. They all worked for Lego because they're all in Denmark, and anyone who does animation work in Denmark eventually works for Lego at some point. But these people just decided they would make a game, and it's basically, imagine Split Fiction, and It Takes Two, combined with the most stunning stop motion you've ever seen in your life. And like, it is actually, because these people have spent their entire lives doing stop motion. They're like masters of the craft, and they have made a video game that looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
So it's Epic are really, their portfolio is very strong.
Yeah.
I would say equally the Infinitesimals. Really great. Mechanically, it's really nice to play. It achieves a sense of scale that Grounded doesn't quite. Grounded doesn't really feel like you're actually in a real backyard, whereas this you step into and you're like, holy shit, I'm really small now.
That's kind of the impression I got, because after playing Grounded, I said it's a shame I played Infinitesimals before this.
Yes,
because
100%,
I would have been more up for Grounded, I think, if I hadn't played something that did it better, like the day before. Like, and I say that, I mean, it's not fair to like judge these things on like 20-minute playthroughs and that, but based on both playthroughs, I thought they were excellent. But
I know I'm doing so much talking here, I apologize.
That's okay.
But I just come off the Xbox thing as well.
We've been talking all weekend, mate. Don't worry, you can
That's
fire it.
fantastic. Grounded, I really like Grounded 1, and Grounded 2 now exists. It's going into early access. Very funny product, because I think you play it and you're like, well, it's Grounded again. And they're like, and we asked the executive producer, we're like, so why did you need to make this a sequel rather than, just keep building on Grounded 1, which is what most survival games do. And he says like, well, we've got these buggies, these mounts. They're the starting point for this. And he's like, if you're going to have these creatures, our map design doesn't work. Because the map's not, and that makes sense. But I don't know. That that's as a starting point didn't really fill me with a lot of confidence about okay, absolutely, I can see why you need to make a sequel to this video game. So far, having played the opening and a little bit of the mid game, because they kind of jump you forward and say it's Grounded again. It looks really nice because it's Unreal Engine 5 now. Yeah, it actually is strikingly beautiful when you boot it up. But I don't know, man. Yeah. So
my concern about the one where they don't talk. What's it called? the one where they don't talk again.
No more words.
No more words.
Oh,
I keep forgetting.
Out of words.
Out of words.
No more words.
So confidently.
Yeah. No
more words.
No more words is the name of
End
Jeff
of
Hardy's
the
theme
words.
song. So that's
Okay. my only concern about that one is trying to find someone to play it with. So I really want to play with my daughter, but she's not quite good enough yet, because some of those kind of puzzles
were quite
were
tricky. Actually, mechanically, this was even more challenging than Split Fiction was.
Yeah, definitely.
And that was already more challenging than It Takes Two was.
Yeah. So it's it's a game I'd love to play with her, but it's still a year or so away. So maybe she's going to have to skill up TM to be good enough to play that. So
it does have Friends Pass that game though, which makes it a bit easier, which is really nice.
I think it's funny when they introduce Friends Pass on adverts now. They're just like it's like Split Fiction. It's like the Joseph Fair stuff. You only play one. When actually, I think Far Cry 4 or Far Cry 3 did the co-op pass first.
Sure, that's
so
right.
A bit
You
of
used to do
respect
that.
on Far Cry.
True.
God rest it.
There was another one. The other Xbox I played was Outer Worlds 2. I played that. So I really liked Outer Worlds 1.
Yeah.
And this is... Look, I'll be honest and say that it's not possible to really tell much about the game from the slice they gave us. It was a factory area. There was some small puzzles. There was lots of combat. There was not much talking. No open world. All the questions that I have about this game could not be answered by this specific slice that they gave us. they make big promises about the new world, the open world being much bigger and more sort of. You know how did you guys play Outer Worlds?
I love
one?
Outer Worlds,
I
yeah.
loved it too. Don't get me wrong, but you know how the open worlds were very much like kind of like backlots.
Yeah, it was
You know
like
what I mean?
a town and then a little bit of grass outside it,
that's
and that was it.
This
yeah.
is his promises. They're quite different. They promise a lot of things. I'm like, okay, and I believe them because I trust Obsidian. But at the same time, it's also like, well, this slice did not show that, and so you kind of have to wait for it. Much prettier though, visually.
Yeah, from the
huge
trailer,
step
it
up.
looked much better.
Oh yeah,
It's weird that they're kind of. We talked about this when Dring was on the show. Like, Dring was like, why didn't they just call it Fallout at this point? Because they're in this weird, not unhappy, in this weird relationship where obviously Obsidian has this Fallout heritage. They're making a Fallout-ish game, but they made their Elder Scrolls-ish game with Avowed, and whatever you think about Avowed, it can still exist kind of happily together. My big question about Outer Worlds would be on that those open world areas. Did you think the areas in the first game needed to be all that much bigger?
I don't think it was about size. I actually think it was about layout and functionality, because it really did feel like you were just going through these kind of tunnels.
Yeah.
And, the sense of exploration wasn't there. So I think Avowed was a really good example, because I don't think Avowed's worlds were like particularly massive, but they were expansive and vertical, and you actually did explore them. So I hope they apply, because I didn't really like Avowed that much, but I really did like its overall approach to exploration and that sort of thing and level design. I hope they brought some of that over into this, because that part worked.
Because there was that one stage in Their Worlds 1 where it was like the city that had like kind of multiple levels and stuff like that, and I thought that was the best part,
Sure,
but
I
that was
agree.
obviously probably the part that took the longest time, and they set a lot of the game there. Switching gears, you played
Actually, just pause there. $80 for that one.
80, but what's that in Australian dollars? Like 3,000?
$7,000, man. It's a lot of dollary dues.
If you don't want to pay $80, you could just get it on Game Pass, which is allegedly.
I actually value game ownership, unlike some people I know.
I
So
don't really
that's not sort of priority to you people here, but to some of your listeners, they might value that.
We're all going to the grave at some point. Like,
we're all going to be the use of. You have to get used to not owning your games.
Yeah.
So, but have you guys already talked about the $80 thing on a different show?
no, it's only happened following the show. We didn't mention it on the other one. It's Andy. It's a lot.
You couldn't
but-
sell Mario Kart a world at $80 because
Yeah.
people will pay for it. Are people going to pay $80 for the Outer Worlds too, in the greatest world of the world?
I think we'll say this now, and then we'll write a story being like, The Outer Worlds 2 was the best-selling PlayStation 5 game in October, or something like that. I do get that. You could sell the new Elder Scrolls for $80, no problem.
But it feels like Outer Worlds is going to be one of those games where it's celebrated by how many players it had.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. So the reason they did
the
this showcase today, focused on that, and they're putting so much into it, is the first one actually did really well on Game Pass.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So
perfect for that platform.
it's a Game Pass game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's talking about that, the PS5 thing, but actually, you saw like the Doom numbers were
Quite poor.
probably less impressive than you
Yeah.
would have thought. And so there's this theory at the moment where, I mean, obviously they're adjusting to this new world where they're basically a third-party publisher.
Yep.
But when they're announcing stuff for PS5 on this show, PS5 owners are not watching the Xbox showcase. So really, the next step is they need to be announcing these things on State of Play or with Jeff's show. That's the sell for Jeff's show, is that you're getting a multi-format audience, right?
Yeah.
How did you think the Xbox show was? Because we were positive to somewhat like 3 to 4 stars probably on
Yeah,
that.
I actually really liked it. I thought it was a solid showing. I actually was utterly demolished by Clockwork Revolution.
That's what
I was
saying.
just
It looks
like,
brilliant.
holy fucking
Yeah.
shit. And like, because I was a fan of In Exile before, I played Wasteland 3. I'm like, these people know how to make an RPG.
Yeah,
But
they're the best.
they're incredible. But because it's a CRPG, not many people play it. And I get why. And now you've got this thing where they clearly just got a bucket of money from people who trust them. And they have that reveal was the reveal of the show.
Yeah.
That trailer rolled on and on and on because I think Xbox knew that every second of it was worth showing. It was incredible. Like, just what a showing. It got me hyped about fucking character creation. I don't give a shit about character creators, but even I was like, you know what? I want to make a fucking character. So incredible showing on that one.
If that's a next year game, that's like an early front runner. Like that's going to be. I wonder if that's maybe a 27 game because they keep doing this whole in due time.
Yeah,
and
that was
it's
one of the
true.
few that didn't have a date at
That's
all.
very true.
As long as I can play it on my Xbox handheld, I'll be happy.
Oh, the ROG Ally Series X Dub Edition.
I actually went hands on with that as well.
Yeah?
We can talk about that because you didn't go hands on.
No,
No,
no.
right, sure. So,
They,
yeah,
couldn't,
look,
they couldn't afford me to
Yeah.
play it.
What, sorry?
They couldn't afford me.
is that how it
That's-
works?
yeah,
Right, I
it's-
see.
it's all good.
Look, I think the ROG Ally was already a great unit.
Mhm.
I remember because I had one at launch, and it's a solid piece of kit. It's better now in terms of its internals and what have you. But the main trick they've done here is twofold. Number one, ergonomics, and it's very comfortable to hold. It's heavy, but it's comfortable.
It looks comfortable.
Having
is.
having the controller style handheld, but that was the thing that sold me more than anything because
Cool.
I don't like a cramped switch. Like you're a man with big hands. How's that Switch 2? It's pretty it's sore to hold.
Oh, well, not if you check out this video sponsor, D-Brand, and the new Kill Switch case. Yes, they're not actually sponsoring this video, they're sponsoring my video. But no, unironically though, I actually do have the D-Brand Switch, and I would never use my Switch without that case because it actually gives it the ergonomic grips. And even before then, I had the Hori Switch handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
ones.
use them for the Switch.
Because again, I would rather die than play my Switch with the Joy-Cons. Like my
Bit-
hands
bit
just
much.
immediately just. So yes, but the ROG Ally, it's very comfortable, and the smart thing they've done is that when you boot it up, it doesn't load most of Windows. It doesn't load a taskbar and a lot of the back stuff, like the back end stuff, so that it frees up that RAM just to go straight to playing games. And I thought when I heard that, I'm like, okay, you guys have got this. Like, cool, good thinking. They've done some stuff with Asus Armory Crate. It's a bit more user friendly now. The device is actually more snappy and responsive than I expected because I did use the ROG at launch and it was definitely a bit sluggish. The screen is, I think it feels small because again, comparing it to the Switch now with a nice big screen, you can still see the big bezels on this one. But it is 120 hertz.
Nice.
It is, and it's 1080. Battery life's meant to be improved, and they also battery life while idle, like when you're not idle, sorry, while hibernating, has been improved, which is a massive pain point of the ROG. So I think this is a compelling product for people who are really juiced into the Xbox ecosystem, and or people who want a handheld that can play absolutely everything. Because the Steam Deck, I think, is still a better device by most metrics. Well, actually, that's not true. I think it's overall a better device, despite the fact that it's weaker. But the fact that you can play everything on this is attractive for sure.
How much do you think that's going to come out at?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. I really don't know.
Like $800?
There's two models.
Yeah.
There's a cheaper one. So, look, I wouldn't be surprised if the top end model, because the top end model has like 32 gigs of RAM, and it's got that 128 hertz screen, and it's got, I forget how much storage, but I think, was it 1 terabyte of storage? It's a chunky machine, and I would not be surprised if it gets into that sort of, PS5 Pro plus.
$50 off now, the PS5 Pro during the Days of Play
That's right, don't forget, grab
celebration. Most powerful
If you get
console
shares
in
in
the world.
Sony,
Sony D-branding, whatever this is.
Johnny
That's right.
Sony pays for these energy drinks, so
That's
I've got to pay it back.
what energy drink are you doing just now?
This is just a little. This is like a strawberry watermelon ice C4. In the second half of this show, I have a can of cocaine to get into, but I thought I would do that later.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Love that. After I've left.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
I don't. We know what I've watched a lot of Nothing to Declare Australia, and I know that when you get there, they're very serious about drugs. So
They will absolutely destroy you. If you bring like half a banana in, they will end your life.
yeah, so I don't want you to be on camera with someone who's ingesting cocaine.
Absolutely.
Did they have the sniffer dog at Xbox?
Did they?
They
Yeah.
did. They did.
Came in and there's a dog there. I was like, all right.
How you doing? Bites you in the
Right in my fucking lungs. And I was like, I just said, can you put your bag down, please? I put my bag down, and the dog went like that and stretched. I was like, is this part of the process? She said, he's just stretching first. I'm like, was he fucking limbering up? Fucking limbering up.
Why is he barking? He's just barking.
Why is he
He
getting...
does that sometimes. He's a dog.
Why is he ripping my balls out with his teeth? Or he just does that. And yeah, he's properly like sniffing my bag and all that. I'm like, well,
It's like, is this how Nintendo Wii bag from 2008?
I do want to point out that yes, this man really did wear a Nintendo shirt to the Xbox event. Just to be clear.
fucking rebel.
And I will say, people noticed, right? People noticed.
Phil Spencer was absolutely raging with it.
Get him out of here.
Absolutely gutted.
Xbox is probably the biggest third-party publisher on Nintendo.
I know, I was just showing,
That's
I was
right,
just,
you
I
were
was
just
just showing
showing
my
love to-
support.
That's right.
Xbox, the biggest third-party publisher on the PlayStation 5 Pro, $50 off now on the Days of Play event. Ralph, before we let you go and do a more successful podcast, how's things covering games? Because we've been talking a lot about this over the last month or so. It's a weird situation. You're in that YouTube world, but you also bring a lot of editorial to it. You somehow make big, long 40-minute news videos like a day after the thing happened. And I was like, how many people works for this? Aussie crook, how's it going?
I mean, it's going well. So the team now is 5 full-time people in Skill Up, actually.
Wow.
And so we have obviously the channel, but we have something else that we're going to announce very soon that we've been working on for a long time. Because
pornography.
Absolutely, that's the next thing.
Energy drink reviews.
I think that this side of the fence is a very shitty place to be, in the sense that like the big corporations own it and they're not good at it. And I think that there's all sorts of systemic pressures in terms of SEO and AI and all sorts of stuff that make this business very, very difficult. I think I've been very lucky because the YouTube side of it has been quite insulated from all that, and I've been able to sort of do like games media stuff, but on the YouTube side, and it's worked. And we're interested to do some other stuff on the other side too. That's kind of what we've been working on for a little while. We'll talk about that soon. I will say though that I think that the future is actually quite bright for like the likes of you guys, independents who actually do a really good job and have a good relationship with your audience. I definitely would not want to be someone who has to work for the likes of IGN or whatever else. No, and I'm friends with many people who work there.
Yeah.
And like they're good, talented people, whatever else. But the sort of forces that they are subject to, no, thank you. You know what I mean? And so I think independent outlets who are doing what you guys are doing, and other NoClip and Aftermath, like that kind of thing, I think is the future. I think those other bigger players will win the SEO game and the AI game. And I think we'll have a direct relationship with our audience that's ultimately going to be better, more sustainable. So that's how I'm planning on playing it. How are you guys feeling about it? Where are you at?
I mean, we're in a suite at the JW, so things are going great.
That's right,
My
love it.
underwear's made of money.
Yeah.
I'm feeling better about it as each day goes by.
Yeah.
It's still a pretty shit situation overall, but luckily, like we kind of tried the Patreon thing out, and people are really supportive, and that really helps. It's a nice feeling to know that people have got our back.
It's also nice to come here for a weekend and see so many people and be like, "Oh, we love VGC!" Like at all tiers of like, be it like fans of the site, like game developers, like executives. It's nice to see, because when you work from home, it's hard to get an impact.
Fucking downstairs, someone said to him again, "I love the podcast," and I'm standing right there, and they blanked me again. I'm like, am I a fucking Spectre at this point? Like, did I fucking die on the way over here, and my ghost is just standing next to him? But, yeah.
Well, I love you on the podcast.
Thank you very much.
You're very
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Glad.
Boss man, how are you feeling about it?
Shit.
Yeah.
Good.
Good chat.
No, we've for me, it just feels like we've done this a lot, right? This conversation.
Yeah.
After
It's
this
not.
weekend-
It is not a good time to be in the games media.
Do you think that
everyone's traffic is down across the board? Google is eating us alive right now. If we didn't have the Patreon, I would be honestly looking for like the out to wind this up. Because the Patreon was the big kind of like the last throw of the dice, and we're so lucky that we've had the support, and it has put us in a more sustainable position. Because it's not just us, as you say, like we're small and we're agile, and we can do that. We can go, let's do a Patreon, let's do some more different kind of stuff, and we built up the goodwill over the years that people want to support what we do. So we're very, very fortunate in that perspective, but it's so difficult out there now. Like it feels like everyone's like, down by half, and they said looks like it's going to get worse, right? I mean, the Google is now run by the marketeers, by the money men, all they're interested in is, hey, what we should do is keep people on Google by making the search experience worse. Because if you find what you're looking for quickly, then you're going to go over to that site, and we don't want you to go over to that site. What we want to do is scrape, all your stuff with AI. And then now they don't even track the click-through links that they give you. It's grim.
Is this happening for you guys as well, that when you search for something now, you actually just get the AI results
Yeah.
first?
Yeah.
And you don't have to click through?
Yeah, and then next you get Reddit, and then next you get more Reddit.
Correct. So I agree, and I think that like the only way this works is what you guys are doing, which is that direct relationship to audience. I think that actually does have a future, and I know you're saying it's tough, and I agree with you. But I'm actually quite optimistic on that front because I'm definitely.
Oh, absolutely! It's definitely. I mean, I've been having this conversation all week. It's the silver. It's the ray of sunshine, right, in the storm. It's in that respect, it definitely feels a lot more positive, and especially because independent media, like yourself, we've had support. We had Jeff Gersman on yesterday.
Nice.
We were on Giant Bomb.
Absolutely.
Kind of Funny always support us. Everyone looks out for each other because it really is like a kind of the rising tide raises all the boats scenario, right?
I think so.
But it's worth stressing that it's still like for us, it's early days. Patreon's been great and the support's been great, and it's steadily, we have more people join every month, but it's still like a small portion of what we kind of get from the website, from the advertising business, from what we need. We want to get there, hopefully in the future we'll be completely sustainable just through that, because that's the dream for us is what you say there.
Absolutely.
Is being able to like not have to run on the hamster wheel, basically.
Definitely
To be able to do what you want without going, well, that's not not a million people are not going to read that, and that's not going to appear on Google, and
exactly. Yeah. You want to be able to have that flexibility to do little tiny things that only a few hundred people care about.
It's still like we're investing in the future, basically. Like we got this big room to film, right? This big room's paid for by the website.
Absolutely.
For
sure.
Otherwise,
it's the same thing with us. I mean, I got a suite. I don't need a suite, but I got a suite because it has a space where we can record the podcast.
Yeah,
100%. That's just what you have to do. So,
Ralph, before you go, give me your gaming show.
Well, okay. Game reveal of show so far has been Clockwork Revolution.
Okay.
Game that I have seen that I wanted to play but I haven't played it was that Sword of the Sea. Game that I've played, I don't know about that. Nothing.
Have you played Lumines?
No, but I really want to.
There's your answer.
Absolutely agree. I'm desperate to do it. Of everything. No, that's a lie. That is a lie. I think my game of shows so far actually has been that Words Out of Words. Yeah, I really do think that. I mean, I really enjoyed End of Abyss. I really enjoyed the Infinitesimals, but that one really was a beautiful story. It's a beautiful game to look at. It's a wonderful game to play. It's split. It's co-op. Sorry, it's just a really great thing. I love that it exists. And so that would probably be it, I'd say. How about you guys? Off the dome.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4.
Really?
No doubt.
Okay.
No
Alright,
doubt.
fair
It's
enough.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Were you a Mad fan from back in the day?
Oh yeah, back
okay,
then.
fair enough.
Yeah, I'm a goth bro.
I think the most accomplished game was certainly Out of Words, but from the huge caveat that this is my genre. And
Oh
I
my
fucking love
god,
it.
you're not going to say that.
He's going to say Code Vein 2.
No, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say Sonic Racing Crossworlds. It's fucking excellent.
Say what?
Sonic Racing Crossworlds.
Oh my God.
I don't give a shit. Listen, this fucking snobbery against the cartoon genre has to stop.
He says that wearing a Nintendo t-shirt.
Listen,
God
fucking-
bless.
I'm fucking. I loved it. I played it for a full
so
hour,
good.
and I was like, I want more.
That's great.
Andy,
I can't talk about my game of the show.
even if it goes up on Tuesday?
No.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. All right, I understand.
Oh.
Plug your shit.
Skill up. Just Google it. It's fine. You'll find it.
Good, yeah.
You end up on Reddit.
Yeah.
Ralph's going to depart. We will see you after this. Welcome back. A special thank you to our season ticket holders: Tanner Santos, Shay Dougal, Matt Huggins, Second Total, Marmus Prime, Ryan Cabane, Official VGC Historian, Sam Beggs, Ginger Jolton, BN12, Mark Edmonds, and our gifters: Cron Sam B, Mark Edmonds, Matthew Campbell, Lister, and since I last had this list, we've got some new ones: Stephen Boren and Alex Diaz. Thank you for your support. Find out more on patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Ralph Scallop has split into two people: Chris String and Neil Long. How are you gentlemen doing? Neil,
I'm good,
Yeah.
I'm very good.
welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
You've been on
Nice
it
to
before,
be here.
but I think it was when I wasn't here, so those episodes
Yeah.
aren't canonical. I appreciate you coming on.
Nice to meet, finally.
Yeah, I've got something to show you.
Yes.
This is cocaine. I
Okay, I'm familiar.
I bought this from...
I'm not. I'm not.
Oh, she's doing some cocaine earlier. Warning. This is a message for the people who are too stupid to recognise the obvious. This product does not contain the drug cocaine.
Nice wee insult. and
This
stuff.
product is not intended to be an alternative to an illicit street drug, and anyone who thinks otherwise is an idiot.
Why have you written the word cocaine in large letters?
Why have you been a dick?
It's much like there used to be an energy drink called Pussy, but I assume that wasn't also a substitute. Let's find out.
Nothing is. Let's face it.
That's what Chris Cummings' tattoo says. That's pretty good. That's the fruit.
You've done too many of these podcasts. haven't you?
That's the fruitiest. This is the last one that's going out, so don't worry about it. That's the fruitiest cocaine I've ever had in my entire life. Pretty good. You get the mixed berry flavours. You get the taurine, the L-cartinine, the Dirabose. Dirabose is the guy that actually sold me this.
Where do you find these things?
This was from, was that Scullion? This was from
This is from what was his name? Mel's. There wasn't Mel.
Leo's
smoke shop.
and
They bought
exotic
it-
drinks.
they
He's
bought
got
it from
lots,
the man
lots
in
of
the pub.
lots of drug paraphernalia. But he sold his.
Yeah.
He sells his own energy drinks. This
Yeah.
Leo guy, but I didn't
Oh
touch
my
them
God.
because one of the ingredients is just Leo's secret blend.
Leo's
And I was
secret-
like, that's either some sort of drug or semen.
It's
So
pish.
I'm not going to drink his own. So I went instead for Ghost Electric Limeade.
Yeah. I tried this on the Energy Drinks of Summer Game Fest the other day.
Oh,
It's,
did you?
Sponsored by EDC, which is a drug taking festival.
Oh, good.
Looks like he's sponsored by last year's EDC,
Yeah,
which
it
is
is.
concern.
We were in the shop and I said, "Oh, that can's got EDC," and Chris went, "What's EDC?" As if I was going to be like, "Yeah, mate, that's hardcore hash."
Well, I don't know all the acronyms for
Yeah, tell that
paraphernalia.
to the police.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Taste it lime.
Limeade, are you
Yeah.
a lime man?
When the ICE officers
Famously.
barge in a minute.
Yeah, it's a very druggy podcast, this.
Yeah.
It's going up on Tuesday. We'll be back in Blighty. Don't worry.
Blimey.
weed
We're
every
going to get
day.
accosted at the airport.
You know.
We'll be back in King Charles's arms. You old men, Neil, Dringo, Andy.
Yes.
You went to these old shows called E3. We can see the corpse out the window. Neil, favourite E3 memory and most illegal E3 memory?
Most illegal, blimey. Let's not start there.
This is going up on Tuesday, so it's alright. The statute of limitations
Embargo
is
lifts.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Most memorable. They're all quite blurry, to be honest,
Mm.
because
Because they're also the illegal ones.
they're very boozy.
Yeah.
They were very boozy. There was one good. What was the E3? You'll know better because you weren't drunk all the time.
For those who
back
don't know,
then.
Neil and myself used to work on official Nintendo.
Yes,
magazine.
sorry, I should introduce myself properly, shouldn't I?
That's fine.
No. I
Plug
used
your
to
site.
do
Plug your
O&M.
site. Plug your site.
I now run mobilegamer.biz,
What-
the essential guide to the mobile games
What
industry.
a receptacle.
Mobile
for
games.
someone-
Was Neil your?
Mike.
He was my editor.
I was
for
the
a while.
editor of O&M
He
for
was-
4
he
years.
He was my
Was
Andy.
he a terrible editor?
He was ruthless.
I was your editor for a bit
Yeah,
as
you're
well.
my editor as well. Yeah.
Never your editor,
Yeah.
No.
sadly.
There's still
Sadly.
time. There's time. There's time.
Yeah, I don't think I could have helped.
There's time.
Neil was my first editor when I
Yeah.
joined the games industry.
So
I
which
think
E3
the
was
question, sorry, was there was a E3 where the Wii was kind of waning a little bit, and we did some stuff in the mag. It was like there was a new Donkey Kong, Kirby, Star Fox, and
Oh, yeah.
one of the other, like what you might unkindly say,
B-tier.
B-team mascots,
Yeah.
and they all came back in one year, and that was a good one. I think on the podcast back then, I kept saying Donkey Kong Country is not coming back.
That's what I was
Stop
running-
going on
I
about
was
it.
running joking
And then
and
it
it
came back.
Do you know what year that was? That was Alfonso Gomez. Yeah.
What's that?
Do you remember Alfonso Gomez?
No.
Well, Alfonso Gomez, who sent my old editor Tim Ingham an
Oh.
email in the middle of the night when I'm assuming you were in peak drunkenness.
Yeah, I remember him, Tim, former CBG editor. He was having some sort of breakdown at the time in the like vicious race for traffic he was engaged with a competitor.
And then Alfonso Gomez sent him an email with a news tip, which sounded very dubious. And the name Alfonso Gomez as well sounds like a pseudonym.
Yeah.
And he was convinced it was a rival website trying to embarrass him.
Trying to stitch him up. Yeah.
So he went into footage Like, all right, Alfonso, I know what your game is.
Yeah.
You think you're tricking? You think I'm stupid? And he actually was like a Spanish journalist.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think we're in the Saddle Ranch, and yeah, he was just like, I think we just left him to it.
Is it like
I don't
that
know
scene
what's
from
going
Hot
on there.
Fuzz when it's like IP freely? Is it that was that moment?
Yeah,
PI
it's one of them,
Staker.
yeah.
It's
PI
like
Staker,
Mr.
is it?
Staker. Sorry about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
God. Glory days.
Timbo, also my former editor. Just.
It's all very incestuous.
He escaped
this,
though,
is it?
didn't he? He
Everyone-
escaped games.
Yeah.
He's in music now, so good for him.
It's very incestuous. Everyone edits everyone at some point.
I learned that when I joined this company, that it's just people who have worked together since fucking George Bush was president. And it's worked out well.
God
It's
rest
good
him.
stories, so that's the main thing, eh?
Mike-
Just us. I don't think there's many people after.
Mike.
It's like obviously no offices exist anymore, right? So
Yes,
we all
that's true.
were in the same office together
Yeah.
for 10 years, but you know it's probably a missed experience now.
Yeah.
I was saying, was it on a pod? I don't know. These pods just all blurred into one now. I don't know whether I said it at the JW bar or to Jeff Gersman on a podcast. But I think we were talking about the drinking, right? I was saying you'd be lucky if you got to Wednesday before,
Yeah, it was
before
very
either
boozy.
someone would tap on my shoulder if they'd had a particularly stressful day and make the drinking gesture, and then that
Yeah.
would be it for the week.
Well, part of my job as editor of O&M was to maintain the publisher's
Was
the
to
three-
get Nintendo games higher scores.
4 pints a day habit, 4 pints at lunchtime.
Oh my
default.
God, yeah.
Only $3.99. I should stress
What have you made of the Switch 2 launch? As former editor, you worked on closely with Nintendo with launches in the media. What have you made of
Yeah.
it all this week? Obviously, no reviews.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I'm glad your blog went everywhere about them not.
That's the thing.
giving
You get people
press.
on social media who are like, you're gutted that you haven't got the clicks.
Yeah,
It's like
it's pathetic,
that opinion piece has done more traffic than any review ever would
Yeah.
have done.
So
you know?
thanks, Nintendo.
Yes.
Sponsors
No,
of this
That's why
podcast.
they did it. That's why
Yeah,
they did it.
they were trying to help me out, like indirectly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame because, as you said rightly on your podcast and in your blog, people want to feel excited about this stuff, and journalists writing about it beforehand and consumers not being able to taste it just yet is all part of that build-up and excitement, and it is a shame that that hasn't happened this time around. But there's also a bit of, we were talking about this on the way here, weren't we, Dringo? Or Christopher Dring, I should say.
Is Dringo on this podcast, or is the T-Boy?
Oh, okay.
When he was unemployed.
The game business. I
Games,
don't know if games.
Games.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but it doesn't get enough
Rings
talked
a
about
bell.
enough.
It rings a bell.
We were
Game.
talking about it.
Game
it's a game.
business.
Okay, sorry. We were talking about it on the way here.
Businesses.
Switch 2 is maybe not got the love from the core that, or the sort of gamer
I think it's missing a core
demographic.
game.
Yeah.
But I don't think Nintendo care. Like they'll sell out of all their stock. Mario
Yeah.
Kart's a winner for everyone.
I just think
Doesn't
it,
really
I
matter.
just think it needed a game. Look, momentum on consoles are all built on their hearts on their games. So when they did so well with the Switch, they launched with Breath of the Wild, and it was the greatest game ever. And it caused a surge of people to come in. They sold more copies of Breath of the Wild than they sold consoles. If you remember, that was an absolutely absurd stat. And then that barreled into Mario Kart 8, and then that barreled into Splatoon, I think, and then ARMS, Splatoon 2, then ARMS, and it just kept going. It just had this big momentum. And with Switch 1, it's launched with Mario Kart, which is obviously a massive franchise, but I'd put that second. I'd have put something else first.
Would that have been Metroid, or is Metroid too niche? Should it have been Pokemon?
Metroid isn't big enough in Japan. It's
Yeah.
not really big enough anywhere. But it's
Nothing's bigger than Mario Kart though. Surely.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
Pokemon. Is it in terms of sales? Like
no.
the top,
No,
nothing
no.
is bigger than Mario Kart. So
Yeah,
launching
I
a
know.
new console with your biggest selling game, I
But
would say that's pretty smart.
Historically, it sells over a long period of
Yeah.
time.
Mario Kart 8 sold more in its fourth year than it did in its third year, second year, and first year. So it's that kind of. It just keeps selling.
Elite
Yeah.
bloomer.
So
And because it's so evergreen, there's probably I guess the theory is that there will be some people who are thinking, well, I don't need to buy a Switch for that right now. But when I buy a Switch 2, I will get it.
And it will keep going with all the expansion past all the extra tracks that they kept doing on the Switch
So,
1. That will
what
keep
what
going.
you're saying
I
is
assume.
true, because ultimately it doesn't matter the first month doesn't really matter. What matters is what do they have. When it comes to Christmas, when they sell the majority of their units, what is their lineup? What are they going to market with? Because then it will be buy a Switch 2, get Pokemon ZA, get Metroid Prime 4, get which is all different audiences. You've got Mario Kart and you've got Donkey Kong. You've got that Kirby game, which I guess some people might want.
No one's going to buy that. Though,
no,
I mean, come on.
Keep
Kirby's.
Sakurai happy so he makes another Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they do
I
that.
bet. I'm sure he gets that written into his contracts. Like for every Smash, he gets to do like
something rubbish nobody wants.
something. Yeah.
It's like the
It's not rubbish.
the Metroid producer Sakamoto
Yeah.
doing Famicom Detective Club. They're like,
Yeah,
come on,
Listen,
just
exactly.
let
What
him
if-
do
what
it.
if-
Just humour him for a while.
What a title.
You get it in films as well. Like Peter Jackson got to do that terrible Mortal. What was it called?
Mortal Engines.
Oh, yeah.
He only got to do that because he signed on to do like more Hobbits or whatever.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
What about
I'd do
Dragon
that too.
Drive? That's going to be a billion seller, isn't
Listen,
it?
can't beat
That
it.
that feels like a contract stipulation.
Yeah.
No, Dragon Drive it'll be. They always have a show off the new motion control game. They did it. Arms was the one for the last one. It might be good. I don't. All of this lineup's fine. I think it's missing something. I think it's missing.
Dragon Drive is very much the steel diver of this generation. And look at you,
Dragon
Chris, for that one.
Dragon Drive is the best wheelchair basketball game I've ever played. And remember when the 3DS launched, it was Steel Diver. I don't know if it was a launch title game, but we had Pilot Wings Resort and
That was a shit.
Nintendogs
Yeah,
and Cats.
Street Fighter
That was a
4.
shit
And
launch
that's
lineup.
and that's why we had the Street Fighter 4 cover
Yeah.
to launch, and that was an
3D.
Street
that was an
3D
amazing cover.
without, yeah.
Street
3D
Fighter 3.
lenticular cover.
That cover was
Amazing.
an absolute ball ache for our art.
Well
team.
done, Dale.
Yeah, well done, Dale.
Nintendo paid for on MCB.
Yeah, they paid for that one.
They pay for these covers, and it's like an advert basically on the front. And Nintendo once, when they had ridiculous amounts of money during the Wii DS era, they paid for a cover of when the launch of the DS XL. It was they just doubled
remember
the
this,
size
yeah.
of the magazine, not lengthwise, size.
Really massive
So we just
magazine.
made the print much bigger. And the very following week or week later, they had the pink, the Valentine's Day girls edition of DS, and it was pink, obviously. So we had to make every page of the magazine pink. They paid huge amounts of money for that.
We the Video Game History Foundation recently have been.
I know what you're gonna say.
Have been putting up like old magazines and stuff, and they stumbled upon Girl Gamer,
Hell yeah.
which is the most shameful period
A
of
dark
both our careers.
episode for O&M.
Yeah, that was a marketing type deal where aimed at young ladies. And it was given away free with like Bliss or whatever it was that they read at the time,
Yeah.
whatever the girls' magazines were at the time, and it was mortifying to read through.
Should have done
And-
Lad Gamer as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be-
Like
Lad
give it
Gamer
a-
was
give it a
official
word
PlayStation
with
magazine.
loaded.
Just to
What-
distance
where's
ourselves
men's-
from this,
Yeah, yeah.
it was the publishers who like basically sold this thing.
Yeah,
to-
yeah, it wasn't our
And
idea.
several very large game publishers paid for it to exist.
Yeah.
So it's kind of their fault, not O&M team's fault. But we got some good freelance money out of it.
Annoyingly, I wrote like 2 articles for it,
Yeah.
and they were the least patronising ones there. It was just like one about Professor Layton and some other shit. But because of that, my name was listed as one of the like contributors. So people were emailing me after.
I got asked about it as well.
Yeah, after
Someone's doing some sort of dissertation on it.
Yeah,
And it's like,
after the Video Game History
no.
Foundation put it up, people were like messaging me saying, "What's all this about?"
You prick.
I know, it was fucking ages ago, mate.
Yeah.
Well, the internet doesn't forget.
Well, forget O&M.
It's like
Yeah, there's
all
less
those,
copies
like,
of O&M
SS
out there.
soldiers. They keep bringing up the past.
Yeah, I know.
That was ages ago.
I know.
I
I
think
was
that's
only
the,
following orders.
that's the first Nazi reference this weekend, which is surprising for us.
Yeah, first
For a
first of many.
For a wee while there, we were really going on a streak of referencing terrible things. One event I won't reference while we're still in America, but it was a real consistent
Yeah.
streak running there, and no Nazis this weekend.
I did come out at Summer Game Fest earlier today and saw loads of smoke in the sky and
Yeah.
helicopters flying around. I was like, the pies are ready.
That's just LA, baby. The downtown city streets. I did see about 300 cop cars drive past the hotel, and that's the first of all this stuff that's happening.
That was just the guys coming to take Chris away from Sonic.
Listen,
I played
think
that.
I heard the wild.
I played the. Oh, it's stunning, isn't it?
Fucking there we go.
That is not the backup you think it is.
It's fantastic.
Fuck Mario
It's good,
Kart.
isn't it?
I'm done.
Are you
I'm
being
just-
sarcastic? Are you
No,
going to break
no,
my heart? here?
I was there like a.
Fucking get it up, you.
Kart racing games are a niche genre for kids. So I don't give a fuck.
It was my second favourite game that I played.
There we go.
He played 2 games.
Yeah, while we're doing O&M retro references, the most grief I got off the forum was for not giving Sonic Racing a high enough score. So I think it was one of, I didn't really review many games, but for whatever reason I had to do Sonic Racing. I don't know why, I was literally in charge, so I obviously chose to do it.
You got emails from a Mr. Sis
Yeah.
Culligan
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
this is bullshit.
It's probably like, oh, come, you were too busy or whatever. So I did it. I think I gave it like 78%, which is fairly reasonable score for a Sonic racing game. The forum went mental for me not giving it like at least 96 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's all guys with like Sonic avatars.
Yeah. Cream the rabbit.
Cool, Chris.
All guys, we cream the rabbit.
Yeah,
Is that
just
it?
like, come on, lads.
Is that the
My-
biggest
my-
backlash you ever got to review?
Yeah, I didn't really review many games. But yeah, definitely.
What's the biggest one you got?
biggest backlash
Yeah.
I've got. People always take a piss at me for giving Red Steel 90.
Yeah.
What a game. But also
gave Red Steel 90.
Listen.
I gave Red Steel 2 86, I think.
Red Steel- Red Steel-
That's pretty good.
That did have
Red
Wii
Steel 2
Motion
is
Plus though.
My thing I got a bit of grief for, but I stand by it. In fact, I would have scored it higher. Was I gave Excite Truck a 9.
Excite Truck's amazing.
It's an amazing game.
I love Excite Truck and Excite Bots.
The worst thing Nintendo ever did. Forget any of the horrific things they've actually done. The worst thing they ever did was not release Excite Bots in Europe. It was
What are
awful.
the horrific things Nintendo's done?
Oh, listen. Look up Tomodachi Life on Wikipedia and under the controversy heading. But yeah, I would kill a few people for Excite Truck, Excite Bots remastered double bill.
Oh,
The
It's
Excite,
stunning.
the
Literally
Excite
10
bundle.
Should we just do a podcast about Excite Truck?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I will not
4 hours
let my
special.
podcast be overtaken by this Nintendo bullshit.
My favorite E3 memory, going right back to your first question, was the
3 hours ago at this point.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
did you remember that? Remember
Get
it
a
was-
load
it
of
was
old
actually
boys
quite-
together. This is what happens.
This could run for 4 hours.
In my mind, it was quite recent. It was the PlayStation 4. It was the Last Guardian,
The Year of Dreams,
Shenmue,
2016.
right? And if some reason PlayStation did these events in these big stadiums, and if you said you were a blog, if you said you were a journalist, they stuck you in like the normal seats. You said you were a blogger, which as far as I'm concerned is not as esteemed as a journalist. They gave you a table with power, and so we always said I was a blogger. It was a table with power, and it was a bunch of us sitting there in these tables, and I was sitting next to my boss, Michael French at the time, and that Final Fantasy VII remake trailer started to appear. And the guy next to me started to shake, right? And of course, the room was getting louder and louder and louder. And when the bit in the trailer, when it's obvious what this game is, the guy started. He kicked his chair back. He fell to his knees and he went, "Oh my god! Oh my god!"
This is why they do these things in America, because if that was in Britain, people would just be like,
Gamescom's
polite applause.
Gamescom's always hilarious in contrast. You see,
Yeah.
particularly when they've got like the Naughty Dog teams come over to reveal something from Uncharted, and they get sort of polite applause, and
Yeah.
people going, "Yeah, it's all right."
I don't think we probably have a reputation for being the most miserable country. Like at any event, it's like that IO Interactive thing the other day. I was just getting texts from any British journalist there.
We were all
going,
sitting
this
in a
is
row."
excruciating.
Listen, I like the wee
I
robot.
think we're
I
just
like the robot
impatient.
dance.
I think we're just,
Yeah.
we're pumping out the content like nobody's business.
So when we went to
We
Kojima
got work
Productions
to
the other
do.
week, they like we got a letter from them like
I'm glad I
asking.
made
They
you
sent us like a load of Death Stranding stuff, and we got a letter from them like asking us like, Mr. Kojima would like a photo with you, and he kindly asks that you wear the merchandise. And then at the event, it was basically just the British guys who didn't have it on. I'm not wearing that.
Not having that.
Fuck
No
off,
chance.
Kojima,
Quite
you
right.
mug.
Some journalists, they're mostly content creators. Some invited guests from certain countries were 3 layers deep in Death Stranding.
That's
I'll keep
overkill,
coming.
surely.
My backlash. I can't speak anymore. My high backlash review was Chris Scullion and I's favorite game,
Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo 7. It was a bunch of people who like to shag cars telling me that I didn't know anything about cars, because I didn't want to play a game where you sit in a cafe. I wanted to drive cars.
Yeah.
You do a lot of sitting in a cafe in that game.
You do. It's
I quite like it though.
it's a shit game. It's
I am
that and Days Gone, 2 really bad games.
when Reed Pop, the American events company run PAX, took over Gamer Network, and we did an event. I did an event for them, and then the big boss guy comes over to me and says, "Hey, how did it go? What do you think of the event?" And I went, "Yeah, it was all right, wasn't it?" And he honestly thought I might as well just kicked him in the face, and not realizing, it was all right. Is our equivalent. Of, it's
solid
amazing.
approval.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
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 We're an understated country. It's Neil.
Hello.
Very briefly, I have about 2 games installed on my phone, and they're Balatro and Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
Is there any other good ones?
No.
Are there any other good ones? Look, Dringo. You want to talk about the game business?
Games business.
Games business.
Over half is mobile.
Gaming businesses.
It should be called the
Do you
gaming
know,
business.
they're really good. There's lots of good mobile games, in my opinion. But
Disney Solitaire.
Bejeweled.
Disney Solitaire is your jam, isn't it, Chris?
Well, listen, I'm on level 947. So close to the big,
We
the big one.
We were on the
000.
flight, and he had a Switch 2 in his possession, and I looked over, and he's like,
No, but I think
that's
you're
what
saying that
happened
was
to me.
Disney Emoji Blitz.
oh, sorry.
I also had a Switch 2 on the plane, and I played the Battle of Polytopia. I don't know if you're familiar with that game.
Listen, I had family who died in that battle.
It's unfortunately
So let's be respectful, please.
That's a bit fucked up, Neil. You brought that up when he's sitting.
Yeah,
You
sorry
know,
about
I told
that.
you that in No End Days. I remember the Battle of Polytopia. I
It's
lost
just
my
like
cousin.
a sort of quite a low.
That's an old game, isn't it?
It's quite old, yeah. It's sort of a low effort strategy game, which is unfortunately
A
sort
mobile
of
game.
yeah, mobile game, and very good. Unfortunately linked to Elon Musk in some way.
Hey.
So unfortunately he's a big fan of it, and he's put it in all the
The guys
Teslas.
he pays to play the game.
Yeah, or the guys, his team who plays the games. But it is, it's a good sort of way of getting through an 11-hour flight. Balatro is
jump?
good.
Doodle jump.
No,
Doodle jump.
Doodle jump. Fucking hell, Dringo.
Cut
Angry
the
Birds.
rope, cut the rope.
Cut the
Line
rope.
Rider.
Grindstone is very good on Apple Arcade.
The app where you can pretend that you're drinking a pint
Drinking
of lime.
What's the
that's a good one.
script with,
Tim
in all
Westwood
seriousness now, what's the script with Point Pay? Is that getting delisted?
Point P is coming off Netflix soon, but
Fucking
that
brilliant
is an
game.
absolute
What the
banger.
fuck
Yeah.
is Point Pay?
It
Come
won
on.
awards and
They
shit.
literally could be making out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They played Scrabble
It's
Block.
brilliant.
It's the guy who made Downwell. Do you know Downwell?
Yeah.
So a former Nintendo employee. He
Should get it with
he worked for Nintendo.
Robocop.
He made Downwell. He's like one of the only Japanese indie guys around, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he went to work at Nintendo and then came out again and made Point P for Netflix.
It's fantastic.
Which was announced at Summer Game Fest a couple of years ago by your friend Jeff.
Oh, your mates with Jeff.
Jeff Stelling.
Yeah, don't know if you've heard
That was Jeff Stelling.
the game business. Is that right?
The game's business.
Yeah, that's coming off
Business.
Netflix, so it might be
The
going
Jeff
more
business.
multi-format.
hope
Or what
so.
I would assume it would.
That's such
Multi-format.
a
Is that a 90
format?
Is that a 90s thing to say? Multi-format.
Multi-platform, I believe they call it.
It'll be available on various mean machines.
My
There you
son's 5 and he's just starting to play games, and he's got the CBBS app and stuff like that. And I thought I'll download him some nice games that he'd find fun. In the CBBS app, there is there's a Super Potato game which is basically Angry Birds, and I thought it's a bit shoddy. I'll download in the proper Angry Birds, but the proper Angry Birds now is awful. Like, it's just spend money,
Yeah,
money,
yeah,
ads,
yeah.
ads,
Yeah.
spend
Well, Angry
money.
Birds 2? Yeah,
It's
that's
just-
the free to play. Good. It's on Apple Arcade. Get Apple
I
Arcade.
ended up buying Apple Arcade, but
Yeah,
even
yeah.
that one has these sort of.
There's loads on Netflix as well.
Get him on
for
Football
kids.
Manager, much better. Football Manager Touch is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get him Wukong.
Yeah.
On PS5.
Get him on Postal.
PS5 Pro,
the
$50
kids
off
love
right
it.
now.
Kids
I
love
think I'll
Postal.
get him.
Oh,
Fucking hell.
No comment. Andy, we should do a segment where we have 5 names and one of them's a remobile game and we have to get Neil to guess what they are. Oh, yeah, I love Splorsh. Fucking showed it a day of the day.
Wimpy.
Sport manager.
You could easily blag it as well. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
That's the one where you collect resources and build a base,
Ah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Then
one
you,
where you're
then
running
you
down
go through different gates to multiply your men.
That's exactly the joke I was about to make. Oh.
good old days.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
that's mobile sorted then.
Back in the day, when me and Neil used to do a real podcast, none of this amateur hour shit.
Yes.
is it still going?
We did it. Well, listen.
Some podcast.
The thing is,
Swingers UK pod.
we were getting too powerful.
Yeah.
So the ties
Yeah.
were cut. Nintendo cut the ties.
Literally
man
Nintendo's
clamped down on
weakest
us.
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, exactly. And the man cut us down in our prime.
You're really like
we-
the original Kit and Krista, weren't you?
Oh, listen. They couldn't.
Shit and Krista.
They couldn't lace our boots. They couldn't lace our boots. We used to have a Tim Westwood soundboard in our
Let's bring
podcast.
Tim Westwood. He's
Well,
right
you can't,
here.
can't do it now.
Yeah.
You couldn't
Problematic
do it
now.
I know he couldn't do it now.
We also used to sneak in is it the Dragon Quest composer guy?
Yeah, and it turned
Who
out that
it turned out he had some problematic views.
yeah, the man. Yeah,
That was a long time ago.
it was disappointing because he had the best photos. He had his own website, Sugimura.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest composer. God rest him. Well, not so much.
Was the
Helmendum, I
website
believe,
called
is the alternate.
Sugimania?
It was called Sugimania.
Yeah.
And he basically put up his own photos, and it was all just him like as a tourist eating a crab and going like that. And they were like, oh, this guy looks adorable. And then it turned out it was some sort of
wrong'un.
Japanese Holocaust denier. And it's like, oh well. I mean,
I hate
like,
it when that happens.
I know.
He starts off with cute, like,
Yeah.
So then when he died, it was like, well.
The thing is, for a man with such troubling views, he just looked really happy all the
He
time.
does- My favourite photo
So
of all
did
time,
Sam.
like, although he's a although he's a
Ralph Harris, you never see him miserable.
Now then,
listen.
we've got a new game from Dragon Quest.
Although he was a bad bastard, there's an amazing picture.
Chris and I are serious business journalists. We can't be dealing with this.
Business. Although he was a bad bastard, it did take my favourite photo of all time, which is him at some park with this big sculpture of a giant hand with lots of wee hands coming out it, and he's shaking one of the hands of this giant hand, and he's like he's so fucking happy. I was like, hell, man.
Most of the other ones are just big thumbs up.
It's just him eating a
massive
crab
grin.
with thumbs up, standing, he'll like pointing at old cameras, going,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's dead now. So
We've done a lot of niche stuff on this podcast over the 125
we're
God
going
rest
to have to
episodes.
do a lot of research to while
Probably
listening to this.
One of the niches.
You should be listening to this podcast with Wikipedia open. Just look at it all the time.
Dr. Harold
You
shit.
know. Oh, we'll tell the jokes after this. There's jokes, but we'll save it.
I think that probably is the point to end our Summer Game Fest coverage. 2025. It's been a lot of
Career-ending stuff.
Thanks to Ralph Scallop for his appearance at the start of the podcast. Thank you, Neil. I'm sorry that we degraded your entire profession for
That's
most of
fine.
the time you were on here, but
I think this podcast has degraded our profession generally.
that's
so-
what we're
The
doing.
CEO of Blooper Manager is going to be watching this. I saw what you said about the Holocaust.
Arnold
Go
Clark
on,
Simulator.
get on Point P before it disappears.
There's a
You've
good-
changed the name since the last time you
No,
said
it was
it.
Pointy.
It was
Pointy.
definitely Point P.
Called
It
that.
was like Plompo or something the last time.
Pointy's a
Ask
lovely
Jeff.
game.
He was into it.
Before we go, Chris Strang, what do you think of the Xbox show today?
The Xbox show.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Yeah, they showed handheld, Final Fantasy, other things.
Yeah.
Out of 5.
Well, I was on that podcast you did earlier.
Patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Thank you for all your support this weekend. We're never doing 9 podcasts in 3 days ever again. a big thank you to Tanner Santos, Serkin Toto, Shay Dougal, Matt Huggins, Martimus Prime, Ryan Cabane, Sam Beggs, Ginger Jotun, BN12, Mark Edmonds, Cron Sam B, Mark Edmonds, Matthew Campbell, Lister. Where's the new gift people? There's so many. I'm drowning in gifts. I've got no internet, so get it up, use. We will be back with a normal podcast next week. Maybe we'll talk about the Switch 2, which that new Mario Kart's okay. Until next time.
It's not Sonic though, is it?
What a game.
What a
What a
game.
title.
I'm never
Or
gonna
Sight Truck.
Now you're playing with my dreams.
play Ploinpo on soon.
To quote Tim Westwood, heavy hit after heavy hit after heavy hit.
Thanks to Tim Westwood for sponsoring the podcast. Say goodbye, Neil.
Goodbye, Neil.
Say goodbye, Chris Scullion.
Goodbye, Chris Scullion.
Say goodbye, Christopher Dring.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Andy Robinson.
Combo
Goodbye.
breaker.
Say goodbye, Tim Westwood. Not available for comment. We'll see you next time.